A wounded female soldier limps past a seal hide, then the street erupts. They let her go and realize she's the key to a covert op about to implode. Navy SEAL rescue. Covert asset. One mistake, ticking clock. Watch what they do next. The alley stank of oil and heat. Natasha Jackson moved like a shadow with a limp. One sleeve was dark with blood. She kept her head down, kept moving. Her left boot left darker prints than the right. The city ate the sound. 2 stories up, a SEAL team held their breath. 4 men in the dust line, rifles fixed, eyes scanning. They were on a silent watch. No interference, no noise. They had waited all afternoon for a courier who never came. Natasha brushed the wall. She hid her face under a scarf. She never stopped. Her gait was wrong but steady. She was focused on the end of the street, where scooters hummed and a boy chased a plastic bottle. She slipped past and vanished into glare. The team lead exhaled. Non-target, he mouthed. The others nodded. They had rules. Don't break cover. Don't spook the nest. The city rewarded patience and punished heroes. They let her pass. 2 minutes later, the first hint arrived. A hiss of encrypted chatter. A phrase more felt than heard. Angel 7 moving, wounded, package intact. The comms man froze. He rewound the buffer. Played it again. Angel 7, the sniper swore under his breath. Angel 7 was the code name for a friendly moving asset. It was also a warning label. High value, high heat. Don't lose her. Another voice crackled through the ether. Rough. Local. The decoy went north. The girl with the bandage, she's the mule. Then a brief roar of a motorcycle. Then 3 sharp words. Wait for detonation. The team lead's jaw clenched. His eyes rewired the last 2 minutes. The limp, the sleeve, the way she scanned without turning her head. The steady pace of a trained mind suppressing pain. Not panic, discipline, he moved first. We mis-ID'd, she's ours. The others were already folding gear. Lines reeled in. Ladders went down. The hide emptied in seconds. Below the alley was a heat mirage. The prints were already drying. They hit the street in 2 pairs. One cut north, one cut parallel. The city pushed back, horns, voices, cilantro and smoke. A vendor shouting numbers. A tug of wind through electrical lines. Natasha's prints smeared under sandals and tires. The comms man threw a drone. It leapt like a moth and climbed. The screen showed roofs, water tanks, a patchwork of blue tarps, a moving seam of white shirts and black hair. Then a flare, a dark scarf, a limp, a quick glance at a mirror nailed to a corner. Got her, he said. Relief cracked and ran. The drone tilted forward. The team surged with it. They jumped a ditch, slid past a mechanic. A hand grabbed a sling. The city tried to hold them. It failed. Natasha stopped once. She leaned on a post. She looked at her palm. Blood slicked her lifeline. She tore the scarf, wrapped tighter, and then moved again. The camera caught a quick thing no one else could see. Her fingers traced a letter on the post. A single N. Then gone. The comms man's mouth opened. That's a breadcrumb. The sniper. Or bait. They kept moving. They couldn't assume either way. The plan had already cracked. The timeline had shifted. They were late. At the next corner, a man on a motorbike slowed near Natasha. Too interested. Too close. She shifted her weight like someone who had learned to turn pain into leverage. Her elbow hit the mirror. The bike wobbled. She vanished through a cloth door into a dark passage. The team split to catch. The lead hit the door and slid. The floor was dust and broken tile. Light fell in tight squares. At the end of the passage, a staircase turned out of view. He took the first step. The building breathed heat. The second step creaked like memory. He took the third. The comms man hissed, "Wait!" Too late. Pressure clicked under the tread. Metal kissed metal. The stairwell swallowed the air. If you want more real-time Navy SEAL Special Ops thriller, covert rescue tactics, and the fate of Natasha Jackson, hit subscribe, tap like, and comment Angel 7 to unlock Part 2 in your feed. The click was tiny. The reaction was not. The team lead froze. He didn't breathe. His boot pressed the edge of weight that held a trigger in limbo. He spoke without moving his lips. Plate, under stair 3. Silence jammed the hallway. The medic was already sliding forward on his belly, eyes down. Mind stripping the room into lines and arcs. He saw the tripwire shadow. He smelled the old battery acid. He didn't like what it meant. DIY, but careful. Not sloppy. Someone had planned this corridor for men who run. Don't shift, the medic said. You move, we're soup. Sweat found the team lead's spine and mapped it. The sniper braced the railing with a loop of line, anchors, redundancy. The comms man knelt and killed the drone's whine to hear the room breathe. The city kept talking outside. Inside, even dust seemed to pause. The medic found the pressure plate's edge. Thin steel under tile. He marked it with chalk from a pocket kit. He slid a shim until it kissed the flange. He stacked a second shim like a prayer. The team lead's calf burned. Time turned to rope. On 3, the medic said. Shift weight to the shims. Millimeters only. Count 1, 2. The rail creaked. 3. The boot lifted like a secret. The shims took the load. The world did not end. They stepped back same way they came. The medic taped the tread with a skull and a line. House is trapped, the sniper said. She knew and still moved through. The comms man nodded. Because something behind her was worse. They didn't leave. They adapted. The lead sent 2 up the outside via a drain pipe. He and the medic took the alley flank. The comms man listened hard. The drone went back to the sky. A black ribbon of motion on rooftops. A scarf, a limp, a woman who refused to quit. She cut across an open deck of rebar and buckets. Not random. She chose line of sight to 2 alleys and a rooftop ladder, a survivor's geometry. She disappeared behind a water tank. The drone drifted. It found heat and shade. Someone else waited there. The feed brightened. A man with a phone and a pistol. He wore the patience of someone paid to wait. Natasha came into his angle at the wrong second. He smiled first. The pistol rose. The sniper spoke once. Mine. The rifle kissed his cheek. The shot felt quiet and absolute. The waiting man folded like a chair. Natasha flinched, looked up, didn't see them, but understood. She waved once, low, terse, move signal. She limped toward the ladder. The comms man's radio popped, English. Then not. Package sighted. Girl in black scarf. Another voice. Hold. Command wants device intact. Then a third. If seals show, use the truck. Truck? The drone found it. South of the block, parked crooked. Hood sun glare a mirror. Dead weight in the bed under a tarp. A strip of orange wire peeking like a tongue. Not just a truck. A switchboard with wheels. The lead swallowed the taste in his mouth. He changed the mission name in his head. Not a pickup. A moving kill zone. He felt the mistake grow roots. They had allowed the handoff to proceed. They had let the mule pass their eyes. Now the city sat on a pressure ulcer called later. Natasha reached the ladder. She started up with her right leg first. She saved the left for anchoring. Simple, smart, painful. Halfway up she stopped. She looked at her palm again. Then she pulled a coin from her pocket and pressed it into the ladder's rust. It was small and blackened. She left it stuck there. A second breadcrumb, or a dead drop object with a story. The medic whispered, "That coin's a key." The lead said, "Or the map is the message." They were both right and out of time. A scooter screamed below. 2 men in long shirts skidded into the alley. One had eyes that didn't blink. The other had a radio with a red switch. He raised it. The sniper took the radio man first. The other ran. The medic cut him off with a knee in the wall, a shoulder to the ribs, a whisper to sleep. The alley caught him. The city went on. Natasha reached the roof and looked down the other side. Her face hardened. She turned, held up 3 fingers, then 2, then 1. Then she dove out of sight. The drone followed and saw why. The truck's hood popped. A hand twisted a key. The engine coughed awake. The bed's tarp lifted. Under it, a bank of wired mortars pointed at the boulevard. The comms man heard the trigger phrase on the air. Green light in 60. Then, Angel 7 must be alive for signal lock. That meant her pulse was part of the firing chain. The team lead's throat closed. They had let their friendly asset walk past. Now her heartbeat was about to light the street on fire. Cut the link, he said. Find her transmitter. Or stop her heart, and start it again. The medic stared. You want to feel death and reboot? The lead nodded once, then a siren sounded nearby. The truck began to roll, and Natasha vanished into a stairwell that had no roof exit. Don't miss Part 3, SEAL Tactics, IED Interdiction, and the truth behind Angel 7's heartbeat trigger. Subscribe, drop a green light in comments, and share to boost the series. The stairwell was a well of heat. Natasha felt it press her lungs thin. She kept her palm on the rail. She counted steps. 12 down. Turn. 13. Turn. The blood on her sleeve made a black smear at each corner. Her ear rang with the city, then with an older sound, a memory of rotor wash, a voice in a briefing room. If they can't track your voice, they track your pulse. That had been 6 months ago. A whiteboard, a drawn heart with a wire she had volunteered. Not for glory. Not for spite. She did it because the model needed someone who could lie with stillness, who could map a block by scent, who could hold a secret under pain. She had that. She hated that she had that, but she did. Her transmitter sat under a butterfly bandage on her ribs. It was the size of a seed. It talked in faint ticks when her heart talked in thumps. If it stopped, the ticks would stop. If the ticks stopped, the system waiting would lose a key. But there were redundancies. There were always redundancies. Above, the seals cut angles through light and wire. The medic spit the math. We can tamponade the signal if we cage it. The comms man nodded. Faraday. Tinfoil, copper, anything. The sniper tore a strip of mesh from a market fan. The lead held a small mylar thermal sheet. Improvised physics in a city that had too much of the wrong kind of metal. They didn't know where the seed was yet. They only knew the principle. They needed eyes on her. They needed hands. They needed to catch up with their own mistake. Natasha reached a door with green paint and a broken handle. She listened. A TV played a drama too loud. An argument, a laugh. She wiped her hand on her pant leg. She pushed in a room. 3 women, silent, watching her in slow shock. A child looked at her sleeve and said, "You're hurt." Natasha blinked. Her mind split into tasks. "Water?" she asked. One woman stood. She moved like she understood triage. She brought a bottle. She also brought thread. Natasha's mouth twitched. "Thank you," she whispered. She poured water over her scarf, pressed it to her ribs, counted to 3, gritted, tore off the bandage. The women looked away. The child didn't. Under the skin tape was a small seal of glue and a dot of glass. Natasha levered the edge with a broken thumbnail. She breathed out through her nose. The room narrowed to the size of a coin. The glass came off with a sigh. Her pulse staggered the air. A footstep outside. The SEAL lead raised a hand. He angled past the door. The comms man's throat mic rasped. 2 friendlies at year 12. 1 child, 1 asset. The medic. If she pulled the seed, she's bleeding more. The lead. We're done watching. They entered with hands low. Palms open, weapons down but ready. The women went still. The child smiled like she had known they were coming. Natasha saw them and sat down. She didn't pretend to be surprised. Relief hit her like a wave breaking. Then purpose followed. She held up the tiny transmitter. The medic took it with a nod. He wrapped it in foil and mesh and a thermal strip. He made a cocoon that killed radio the way water kills flame. The comms man checked the spectrum. The tick was still there, faint. He added copper from a stripped wire. The tick died. On the net, a voice snarled. Signal lost, reacquire. Another. Use truck proximity fuse. 40 seconds. The lead looked at Natasha. Where's the primary? She pointed with her chin. In the truck bed. Mortars packed with steel bearings. Phone detonator backup. Fused to GPS. The medic's eyes flicked to her ribs. You okay to move? She tied the scarf tighter. Yes. She swallowed something like pain and sand. But there's more. She reached into her pocket and pulled the black coin. This opens something, she said. Not a door. A decision. The lead felt the weight. It was heavier than it looked. The child watched the coin like a planet. The comms man's screen showed the truck rolling toward the boulevard. 20 seconds, 19. The sniper's finger twitched in air. Can't shoot the driver. Could shock the relay. Might go high order. Natasha stood. Her knee buckled. She caught the table. She looked at the women. Down, she said. They understood. They pulled the child into a corner and covered her with their bodies. The TV drama kept talking about love. The lead pointed at the window. The truck passed below like a nightmare with headlights. The medic cracked a smoke to cut a camera's view. The comms man fed the drone a suicide path. He bit his lip. If I hit the bed, we scatter the mortar tubes, maybe. The lead weighed the risk. The coin made a circle in his palm. The city smelled of copper and cumin. 10 seconds, do it, he said. The drone dropped like a hawk. It punched the tarp. It vanished into wires. The feed went to snow. The truck bucked. The bed exploded in splinters and smoke. But the detonator didn't fire. The net filled with curses in 2 languages. Then a calm voice cut through. New plan. We have a second device. Same street, same fuse. And this one doesn't need the girl. Natasha looked at the coin. Now you know why I kept it. Outside, a second truck turned into the boulevard. For deep dive military thriller realism. The SEAL intercept you won't see coming and Natasha's next move. Hit subscribe and comment second truck to keep the algorithm on our side. The second truck was older. No paint left to flake. The grill smiled with broken teeth. It ran quiet. Too quiet. The driver wore sunglasses in shade. He didn't look around. He didn't need to. The circuit was already closed somewhere else. Natasha turned the coin between thumb and forefinger. It wasn't a coin. It was a key head without a shaft. Carbon fiber. Micro notches. Warm from her hand. The medic looked closer. RFID? She shook her head. Mechanical. Old school. The team lead nodded. Where? She let the question hang for a beat. Tested trust. Then she pointed down and left. Stormgate under the boulevard. It's a choke point. The key arms the lock arms the street. Her eyes were glassy but bright. Whoever holds the key decides which signal matters. The comms man's map found the drain lines. A box under the street. A steel lid tight with rust and law. The sniper leaned over the sill. We can cut the truck, but if the fuse is remote, we turn the block into shrapnel. The lead's mouth was a line. We go under. They moved. The women in the room squeezed Natasha's hand as she passed. The child reached for the scarf. Natasha tucked it into her collar and winked. Stay small, she whispered. The child nodded, the way children do when they decide to be brave because someone asked. The team hit the alley, then a cross street, then a drop into a wash where water ran only during arguments between clouds. The grate in the curb fought them. The medic's pry bar won. The smell hit like a wall. The lead went first. He took the coin. Natasha went second. She wouldn't let them go without her. The tunnel was a throat of concrete. It swallowed voices. It whispered its own. Rats had signed the lower walls with tracks like hieroglyphs. The comms man ducked antennae. The sniper carried his rifle like a cased violin. The medic counted steps again. They reached the box, a steel door with a circle of holes. No electronics, no laser. A slot half the size of a cigarette pack sat in the frame. The coin fit like it had waited its whole life. The lead held it. Turn? Natasha nodded. Left. He turned. The lock fought. The medic added a palm. It yielded with a sound that felt wrong in the chest. The door creaked. The air moved. The city's heart beat louder. Inside, a panel. Not modern. Not simple. A bank of mechanical switches sat under a plexiglass shield. No labels, just tape scars where labels